Tim Anderson Podcast. I'm Tim. And, gosh, seems like for a while since I've said this, but that over there is my buddy Ty, the insurance agent to the Stars. Tyus, how are you, my friend? It's so good to see you. I feel like it's been a while. We haven't had a chance to converse. How you been?
I've been okay. It's nice to see your face. It's nice to hear your voice. And I wanted to say, Tim, happy anniversary to you and your lovely bride.
Hey, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it. I was going to say something myself towards the end of the pod, but you beat me to it. Yeah, it's my gal and I's wedding anniversary today. So we went for lunch and all that stuff, and she has graciously said, "Why don't you go down and talk Open Championship golf with Ty tonight, and we will be all good." And it cost me a trip to the Mall of America this Saturday. But other than that, it's been good. It's been good. So very happy about that, and it's a good thing. Yep, it's a great day. Happy for it, and now we're happy to talk pod with you. You've been a glutton for punishment. You were out watching old Viking NFC Championship games. Like, what on earth is the matter with you?
Yeah, I have not watched that game since it happened live, and I was pretty much live streaming it through my Snapchat, which a lot of my friends really appreciated. I'm sure they didn't, but yeah, it was on the NFL Network. Clearly, I don't think it was targeted TV because I don't think they would have done that to our target market area here on purpose. That's cruel, but yeah, I decided to stomach it. And I did not last until the end. 12 men in the huddle, threw across the body, and I turned it off within seconds. So it was tough to watch. But the rest, I remembered those parts of that game, but I truly forgot what led up to it. And my big takeaway was, wow, did we blow that game in so many. I mean, we were just trying to give the game away. The Saints were just taking what we gave them. I just clearly thought we were the better team.
It was really the beginning of the end of my real, extreme fandom. I listened to that game in the car because I was working that night, and just you could smell it the whole way. Adrian Peterson fumbled the ball a bunch. We're throwing to Nafahu Tahi, and we're throwing across our body, and we're 12 in the huddle. Yeah, I mean, it was just, you knew, there was, and yes, were they beating the crap out of Favre? No question about that. No doubt about it. But it was like Chili forgot, Chili didn't know how to coach a big game, and you could just tell, we're undermanned in the coaching department today. We don't have what it takes to win.
Yeah, Chili looked like a dead person on the sideline. Zero emotion. Didn't matter what was happening, what point of the game it was. He had zero emotion on his face. I do not miss the Vikings have had some big misses at the head coaching position. Some guys that, you're always going to be excited about any head coaching hire. You think there's potential, hopefully. And holy buckets, we've swung and missed a few times.
Did anybody really think that, though, about Childress? I mean, when they hired Brad Childress, was everybody like, ooh, hey, that guy? No, nobody was, right? Because he wasn't even calling the plays in Philadelphia.
I mean, you could be, yeah, that's true. But if you're working under Andy Reid, just like now, if you're working under Bill Belichick, it doesn't matter if you're Joe Judge or who, people are going to think that, ooh, we could just get our little piece of that. And we found it doesn't always work out that way.
It's just, I think Minnesota has now eclipsed Cleveland and maybe, because Detroit's had some wins in this century with basketball and stuff, so I can't really say anything. But, I think Minnesota sports fans, is it fair that right now we're the leader in the clubhouse for, most tortured fan base? Vikings, Wolves, Twins. Twins haven't won a playoff game in their last 19 or whatever it is. They haven't won a baseball game, which is impossible. Impossible to do. And we've done that. And the Wild can't get out of the first round. It feels like a very tortured base. Now, of course, that's no disrespect to the Lynx. No disrespect. But it is what it is.
No disrespect to the Lynx, of course. In totality, I absolutely think you're right. No question. Just the combination of everything. I don't, and I think nationally, I do think that people are starting to pick up on our misery. I think we alluded to the fact that Clay Travis was talking about it recently. I've seen a lot of tweets about statistics that people are coming up with, kind of that rank the most cursed or the worst results as far as major sports in certain areas. And there's certainly some steam there. But I must say the Twins record for most playoff games lost consecutively, I'm very proud of that streak. And I am very much so rooting for them to get there. And I used to think we had to draw the Yankees, but I found out now it doesn't really matter. You know, we could draw the Athletics and we probably would lose.
The streak will continue if we make the playoffs because the pitching stinks. So, I mean, there's no question. If we get to the playoffs, we're going to get rocked by whoever we go against because we can't get anybody out when the money's on the line. But yeah, that's either here nor there. That Favre season was really terrific. God, that was like the most fun season up till that playoff game that we had really since '98. I loved like Favre came in that year. The only thing I will say about this, and then we close on the Favre thing, was like I felt like it was the year where I looked and I said, "That's what professional football looks like. Like that's what a professional quarterback looks like." And I've been looking for it ever since. And you know, we've been looking for it. We looked for it before. And I thought we had a little bit with Dante. I thought Dante had moments where you were like, Dante's really good. That 2004 season from Dante was, you know, next level stuff. But that Favre year where it was just the guile and the ease and just the command that he showed, that was like, yep, that's what we need. We need to find that because that's what that's what Tom has. That's what Aaron Rodgers has. That's what Mahomes has. That's what we're missing. We don't have that. And when you look at Cousins, that's the eye test. I look at Kirk and I'm just like, it's not that guy. Like he just doesn't have those intangibles. He doesn't have those pieces. And that's why I was a Kirk guy. I was okay with the signing, but then you watched him play 8, 9, 10 games and you were like, yeah. And he is what he is.
Yeah, I had that before we close, that exact takeaway just watching the game. Favre had he had a 2nd and 20 throw that he just threw a bullet, and it was an anticipatory throw where the receiver was not in the spot yet, and he knew that he had the trust the receiver wasn't going to that the corner wasn't going to undercut it, and that the receiver was going to be where he needed to be. And aside from a couple of squirrely throws, he threw 2 picks and then another one that should have been picked off. He was just throwing bullets. And the thing about Favre is it never really mattered if he was behind the chains. That was when he really wanted to, to throw a dart. And that was when he really wanted to, to show everybody what he had. So he kind of was that guy. So like you said, we haven't had it since. And it's not Kirk. Kirk doesn't even attempt those throws. He takes the check down, maybe.
It takes a special dude to be able to make big time throws, right? And that's why we love Joe Burrow so much. But that's football. And Ty, you're already showing you could be an able fill-in on the football pod. That you're doing great here with this particular conversation. This is really good. I want to quickly say a couple things to our listeners. Thank you, first of all, for checking out Zach's Waxing on Wax podcast with me, where we open some cards. We're going to do that again this week. Zach and I are going to probably sit down Thursday and do that. It's been looked at on YouTube. I appreciate you doing that. I also appreciate you listening to that podcast as well. And again, if you have not done that, please go to the Tim Anderson Podcast channel on YouTube. You can type in Tim Anderson Podcast, Waxing on Wax, or whatever the episode titles, and get yourself to the channel. I need to get more subscribers on the channel so that we can really do some customizing stuff and be able to get the video out to more people and get more of that content out to more people. So subscribe, like, leave a comment, click for notifications. That'd be great. And also subscribe to the podcast on Podbean, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for that. And I also want to take this moment and say I apologize again. I really hit the wall in May. I had to take a couple months off, and just felt good to do that. the end of the school year, Ty, challenging. It was a very tough end of the year. And I just felt like I had hit this wall physically, mentally, emotionally, and just needed like 2 months of golf and sleeping and other things where I just was not focused on much. Not like this is work. I'm not trying to act like doing the pod is work, but you get to those moments where you're like, just let me go sit in a corner somewhere and not be bothered. And that's where we were for the last 2 months. But I understand that sucks for the listening audience, and I'm eager to bring you more content as we go forward here. But I wanted to get that out there because I don't like to BS my listeners, Ty. We have a nice following here at the Golf Pod. I want to make sure that those golf listeners hear us consistently, and I feel like we kind of let them down over the last 2 months.
Yeah, it was, I certainly did miss podcasting, but I just knew that, we were going to come back to it. You and I were still in close contact, still talking about golf pretty much on a weekly basis with text messages going back and forth, commenting on the tournament that was going on. And I just knew it would make these podcasts all that more special because holy buckets do we have a lot to talk about.
We've got
no shortage of
We've
stuff
got
to talk about.
So much show here, including an Open Championship preview during this podcast. Ty, where do we start? Where do you want to start? Do we want to go backwards and kind of go back to here, or do we want to start with where we are? I mean, where do we go? What do we do? Take us somewhere.
I think we would be, and who would have ever guessed it would come out of my mouth when I was begging not to talk about it a couple months ago, but I think we have to talk about live golf.
Okay.
I think that's what people want to hear about.
We'll start with live golf, and they've now played a couple events. The good news is that we've had the benefit now of having a few events. We've had the defectors, and Tiger today really finally stepped forward and voiced his, I think, pretty honest thoughts on Norman, the Live Tour, the guys who are playing the tour. I thought it was pretty interesting commentary of Tiger today as well. So, on the Live stuff, have you watched it? What are your thoughts on it? And your thoughts as we go as we go forward. I've got thoughts, but obviously the floor is yours.
No, I haven't watched anything. I've seen a couple of, a shot here and there of stuff posted on social media. I will admit I've sought out the leaderboard a few times through both events just to see where things were at. And then I certainly took a look at the end to see, who shot 10 over and made $1 million. But I've paid very close attention to the comments sort of outside of the tour or, the players on tour, the comments that them talking about defecting from the PGA Tour. I've been following everything I can, and we'll talk a lot about these guys, I think, from Rory and JT. Those guys have really taken a leadership position. They've taken a hard stance. They're doing the dirty work. They're not making Jay Monahan or anyone from the PGA Tour do it. They're not making Tiger do it. And they are kind of stepping up to bat for the PGA Tour. And the overarching feeling I have about this whole live thing is just because it can be better doesn't mean you had it bad. And had you asked these guys a year ago, tell me about, your experiences on the PGA Tour. Do they treat you pretty well? Do you feel you're paid well? Do you think the amenities are good? I think they might have said, yeah, there's some good and bad parts of being an independent contractor, and the fact that it's kind of you're on an island. But yeah, I am living the dream. They pay us great. I wouldn't ask for anything else. And then now in hindsight, they're like, oh yeah, they're withholding this huge pot of money back from us. And like Justin Thomas said, during COVID, when you had no fans and no money coming in, they were still able to pay out full pots. That's because they were conservative in those situations. So I don't really want to hear it. I don't want to hear, these guys all of a sudden now have this gripe against the PGA Tour. I'm just not a big fan of it. And I'll just come out and say, if you defected to the Live Tour, good for you. Go for it, man. But I am not a fan of you. And I don't want you coming back when the Live Tour fails. When these Saudi guys, they have unlimited pockets, but they're not stupid with their money. At some point, the money's going to stop coming in. And I hope the PGA Tour tells them to go start their own tour.
See, that's the thing. What the Saudis don't want, I think the Saudis are smart. And they're throwing money at this. After a while, they're going to be like, how much did I pay Phil Mickelson? Like, what am I getting? Like, they don't understand that these pros are ripping them off right now. Like, for Sergio Garcia to stand there and talk about, we're finally getting paid what we deserve. You're not LeBron James. Like, you're not Mike Trout. You're not Shohei Ohtani. You're not Patrick Mahomes. You're not Aaron Rodgers. You're not transcendent. You're not Lionel Messi. You're not some guy that everybody in the world knows. Like, you're not that guy. You don't sell shoes. You don't sell clothing lines. You don't move the needle. CBS, I guarantee you, didn't pay money because they're like, oh, gotta have Sergio Garcia or else. What are we going to do? No. So what makes you think you deserve $100 million? And if you're Phil, who's made hundreds of millions and has squandered hundreds of millions, what makes you think you deserve $155 million guaranteed? Now, if you can get it, hey, great. More power to you. You're 51 years old. Your career's over for the most part. Go ahead and ruin your legacy for an extra $150 million. Go ahead. And I get the comeback here. This is where people are going to say this, Ty. They're going to say, well, if this was you and they came to you and said, here's $100 million, you take it. You know what? You're right. But here's the difference. I make $70,000 a year. Not $7 million, not $70 million, not $700 million. Right? So, like, for the Andy Ogletrees of the world, do I get it? Yeah, I get it. He had a chance to make $500,000, but it's a short-sighted move. If you're Richard Bland, do you get it? Yeah, I get it if you're Richard Bland. You're 50 years old. You probably made more money last weekend than you have your entire career. I get it. I get it. But for Bryson DeChambeau, for Patrick Reed, for Taylor Gooch, for Abraham Answer, and for some of these other guys, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it at all. Because you have taken your career, like Abraham, and I love that answer from Abraham Answer, no pun intended, when he says, like, oh, just want to get paid what I think I'm worth and what, max value for what's. You got one win. You got one win, guy. You haven't beaten anybody. And you've already made $20 million. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You got one win, $20 million. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'd love to have that kind of success rate. It's that's the stuff that grinds my gears, Ty. The floor's back to you.
I love to hear it. I love the passion because I feel the same way. And the more this is drawn on, it was just a nuisance a couple of months ago, right? It didn't make my blood boil. It was just annoying. And now it's like, I hate to be repetitive, but to hear these guys talk about how bad they had it, I'm just not buying it. And I'm not going to go there. And I've made decisions like that, obviously not of this magnitude. And yes, you spend your time trying to justify it, and you kind of make things up in that process, and that's what these guys are doing. Bryson DeChambeau saying he's just looking out for his family. Okay,
what family? You're not
Is he married?
No, he has no kids.
Do you think anyone's going to marry Bryson DeChambeau?
Not if he's on the juice like he is. I mean, everybody watches it. Now he's probably going to go to the Live Tour and just juice up all he wants now. I mean, we'll never see Bryson again. It's over.
This is totally going to tarnish his. Okay, he didn't have a whole lot of. I just think it's too flash in the pan to have a huge legacy as far as if we're talking 20 plus years down the road. But he's ruined his potential legacy, no doubt. He was already on the downslide from his kind of surge to the top. And people were already very tired of the act. And I think even he was ready to go back to playing regular golf. And then he had to take care of his family. Quick side note. Did you see the video, the We Are the Champions video on the Live plane. That looked like a good time. I might have joined just for the plane.
It's a hell of a plane. There's no question about it. And they're living it up. But that's where Tiger came in today. Like, Tiger talked about that. It's like, you're getting guaranteed money and you don't have to practice. He's like, why practice? Why go hit balls? Like, what's the motivation to go out and earn it? Especially, it's a 54-hole event, and it's music blaring, and it's like, hey, it's a good time. How does that make you better? Like, how does that get you ready for the Open Championship? How does it get you ready for the Masters of the U.S. Open? Like, how does it do that? I'm not seeing it, which is why, again, no live golfer, repeat, no live golfer will win or be, I'd be stunned if we have one in the top 15.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who probably has the best bet. It's not going to be Phil, that's for sure.
No, Phil stinks.
I don't see it being DJ. I mean,
Koepka doesn't practice.
Phil's pretty much an 80s golfer at this point on PGA Tour courses or professional courses. I don't think he's capable of shooting under par right now. Probably won't be DJ.
Yeah, Brooksy's not good. Reed might be the only guy who might be, because he's got a little guile to him. But who's going to root for Patrick Reed? I mean, Reed. No, nobody's going to. Here's the problem, and this is the analogy. Everybody says, "Well, competition's good. What's wrong with competition? Competition." Not in pro sports, man. You can't have multiple leagues. You can't. Like, it doesn't work in professional sports. When the NFL had the USFL, it was bad for business. They ended up taking that product over. It's not pro wrestling, right? It's not like that. Same thing with Major League Baseball. If there were 2 Major League Baseballs, it'd be horrible. 2 NASCARs, horrible. 2 NHLs, no good. No good. Wouldn't work. Not a good idea. Can't do it. Right? One of the reasons why the MLS struggles is because, like, it's an okay league here in the United States, but everybody knows it's not the best. Everybody knows that it's not English Premier, it's not the Champions League, it's none of those things. So, like, it's like the 4th tier league, and people don't want that. This is the comparison I'll give you. And Ty, here's a history lesson for you on sports. Because I know you're not a huge racing guy. But in the 1990s, IndyCar, they were one body. They had all the great drivers, and I used to watch a lot of Indy 500 because my grandfather and my dad loved cars and stuff. So I'd watch over Memorial Day weekend, Al Unser Jr., Rick Mears, Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt, Emerson Fittipaldi, you name it. All these great drivers. They get to about 1994, 95. I'm not sure exactly, but it's one of those 2 years. And all the big-time, older, veteran drivers were like, we can go make more money. We can go do our own thing. And before we knew it, they split off, and they were racing here in the Champ and Kart, they called it, Kart Championship Auto Racing Teams. And the Indy Racing League was here racing the Indy 500. And what you got was watered-down product. You got some big-name guys here, but then after 2 years, they were like, oh, shit, like, we can't make any money here. Fans aren't coming to our races, and we'd kind of like to race the Indy 500. So they were trying to figure out, how do you come back? And before you knew it, the Champ Series was broke. Within a decade, it was done, or 15 years, whatever, it was done. Now they're merged back together, and they're the IndyCar Series, but they'll never be what they were. They'll never get back the market share that they had. They'll never get the niche back that they had. And that's where I worry this goes if this continues long term. If this drags out 2, 3, 4, 5 years and, the live guys win the ability to get world ranking points and get into major championships, I think that's it for pro golf as a relevant sport on TV. I really do.
Yeah, and the part that I just don't hear a ton of people talking about that I think, to me, it seems super obvious is it's okay. So let's take a certain person. Let's say Jordan Spieth. I think Jordan Spieth made $40 million in 2020 or 2021. Does that sound right?
I know he made a ton that year he won the FedEx Cup.
Yeah, I don't think it was his FedEx Cup year. I think it was more of a normal year in recent memory. And I think maybe $7 million was from actual tournament earnings. And then that leaves about $33 million. And I think it was actually about $44 million. So more than $30 million in endorsements and other things. So let's say he took $150 million to go play live. And he gets dropped by Under Armour.
Yep.
Or they suspend his partnership.
Bridgestone just did that today from Bryson DeChambeau.
Yep. So let's say Under Armour suspends, AT&T suspends, and he goes and takes his $150 million. He probably grabs an international sponsor who might pay him a little bit of money and might give him a short deal. No, sponsor from Abu Dhabi is going to give him a 10-year deal, right? They're going to give him a quick cash grab to get on his shirt because their Under Armour's not on his shirt. So you make your $150 million. You might maybe make up the other 20, 30. So you're making almost $200 million. So you play next year, and the tour starts to, if it doesn't gain traction, they're probably going to pitch to him, hey, I know we were giving out, $5 million to the winner, but it's going to be about 3. Here's the numbers. It'll work. You're still making more than you make on the PGA Tour. And then all of a sudden, the Live Tour's done. So he's made, let's say, $250 million in 2 years, and then he has to come back and do something else. AT&T is not going to just pick him back up. Under Armour's not going to pick him back up. Titleist might not even pick him back up. So he might make $5 or $8 million the next year. And what if because of it his golf game falls off the table? And then he's doing speaking engagements and playing, trying to claw for his, and playing in the majors because he's exempt into some of them. And then he starts making about $1 or $2 million a year. Tell me where that's super obvious that you would do that too. Now, is there a chance that the Live Tour takes off? I suppose so. There's a chance. And yeah, I guess these guys are betting that that's going to happen. But I don't think it's all about the $150 or $120 million up front. I don't think that tells the whole story. What did Taylor Gooch get?
Not $120 million. 10, maybe 10 or 15. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Go win the FedEx Cup.
Because he just realized he couldn't. And the other thing, too, I think that, these players are banking on, we're going to get world ranking points, we're going to be looked at as an accredited tour, and we're going to win our lawsuits to be able to play both the PGA Tour and the Live Tour. Which, again, but if they do that, that smacks of just total lying, right? Just total bullshittery, right? Because what are they all saying? Hey, we just want to grow the game, feed our families, take care of things financially, and play less golf, be home a little more. Well, you've committed next year to 14 events minimum. You've already committed to 14 weeks you're going to be away from home. And then if you're able to get in the majors, like if you're a DJ and the Masters honors your lifetime exemption, and you have still U.S. Open privileges probably for another year maybe, okay, great. Then you've got 16 events now. Well, what did you play last year on the PGA Tour? 17? 16? So what's the difference? And if you're Phil, who's a lifetime member, you don't have to play any. You can play 4. Like Tiger doesn't have to go out and play the minimum 15 to keep his card. He can go out and play his 2-3 events and keep his card every year because he's a lifetime member. Phil's a lifetime member. So I don't want to hear that he had to go play, I gotta want to spend more time at home. You could spend all the time at home you want. So I don't want to hear this. I just don't. So I don't know where this is going to go, but boy, yeah, if they win these court battles and they win these antitrust things, we'll see how it goes. But I do think if that happens, it'll be the end of this thing, unless these two sides can merge and find something to work. And the solution is pretty simple. The top guys want less subsidizing of the bottom guys. That's right. I think that's what they want. And they want less of a schedule. So they want to play the wraparound. They don't want to do the wraparound anymore. They want to end a season, have a true off season, and be able to have more control over the hit and giggle money. That's clearly what this is all about, right?
Which they got, right?
Yeah.
Now FedEx Cup points don't start until January or February. Yep,
and they're going to play a couple team things in the fall. And it does hose the Korn Ferry guys. It does hose the guys who are 125, 126, because now there are less starts. There are just going to be less chances for them to get out there and get playing. And I worry about some of these events. Like, I worry about the 3M. I worry about the John Deere. I worry about some of these events like the Barracuda and the Barbasol that just are like, you know what, they may not be big name events, but they draw for the community. They donate for charities. They're big, they're big publicity pieces for the tour. I worry about those events.
Yep, same, because if they have to trim the fat, it's going to be an easy decision. And I hope these Korn Ferry or lower level PGA Tour guys, I hope when they see DJ and Koepka on the range, I really hope they flip him the bird. That's what I'll be rooting for. Because you're right. I mean, if they have to trim events, the PGA Tour is essentially probably going to have more like a baseball system where they have a AAA and a farm system, which is the Korn Ferry. And that's unfortunate for these guys because the exposure is not going to be the same playing in these lower level events that have no big names, right? Where it doesn't get you 2 years exemption, where it doesn't get you $2 million. That's going to be unfortunate for these younger guys. And, I do think at this point in his career, Tiger and other guys really do care about the development of the game. And these guys just totally said, we do not care. We are 100% in it for ourselves. I don't want to hear that this is good for the game. You can think that, but it's not. You did it for yourselves, and that's fine, right? They have that right.
Yep, they do. But
nobody stopped them.
In 10 years, I just ask you, you're not the NBA. What's going to happen? You've seen what the NBA ratings are, what baseball ratings are. When the fans check out, they don't really come back. They really don't. And I think I worry about the golf. I worry about PGA. I worry about the golf. I worry about the tour. I worry about golf on TV. And if Liv gets a TV deal, I'm curious what the TV deal is, because I don't see an American television company right now of any substance. Maybe Access TV or something like that. But I don't see a team of any substance buying into this tour. I just don't see it. So can you survive on YouTube and your website and no ads? And can you do that? I don't know if you can. You certainly can't do it with Jerry frickin' Foltz broadcasting. He is an absolute disgrace. I'm just going to come out and say that. Just 5 minutes. Do me a favor, Ty. Go watch 5 minutes of any of the last events and just listen to the constant slurping of Jerry Foltz of these players. Oh, God. It's embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself. If I was Karen Stupples, I'd leave him tomorrow. But it's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. All right, there's the Liv conversation. Now I'm fired up, Ty. God, that's been in the holster for a couple months. I had to get that. Ugh.
Absolutely. Did you know there's a golf tournament this week?
There's a big tournament this week. And that's the thing that's becoming the problem is now it's really just about the four majors right now where everybody's playing. That's it. And here we are, the home of golf, St. Andrews. Do you want to talk St. Andrews now, or do you want to find another storyline to get to? Do you want to get to St. Andrews? What do you feel?
I think we should talk St. Andrews. I think we should give it the credit that it is due, right? Give it the time of day.
I agree with you. St. Andrews, I think you and I talked about this, and maybe I don't know if your thoughts have changed or whatever, but I think you and I at the beginning of the year were concerned that this course was going to get eaten up, that this was going to be a 30 under par type kind of tournament. I don't know if it's going to be that because they got some firm conditions, but are you concerned at this for the venue this week? And does it matter?
It matters. And I was concerned, but watching live from the Open on the Golf Channel, I'm less concerned because I do think the players tell the truth. And I think that they are saying that the firm conditions are legit and it's going to, and they're, Justin Thomas said today, or I don't know if it was tape from yesterday, but he said that the score will probably be in the teens, but it won't be in the 20s. And I'm okay with, it doesn't have to be an 8 under winning score, a 5 under winning score. I don't expect that at St. Andrews. you build a golf course that long ago and there's that much history, I don't think you're going to be able to game it up enough to make this an even par tournament. And the Open hasn't always been that way, right? Because the weather's always been the great unknown that they can't control.
Yep.
So you can't make it in benign conditions, a 2 under is the winning score, because in tough conditions, that's 10 over and nobody wants to see that. Right? That's too extreme. The players wouldn't like that. And then just hearing Tiger say that it's his favorite golf course. Now, he's won here twice, right? That makes it special. It is dubbed the birthplace of golf. So there's a little bit of that. But I do think that probably lends to the fact that this golf course is more challenging than it may appear on TV with the 100-yard wide fairways.
It's
in some spots.
And that's one thing the RNA does. The RNA does not trick up courses, right? They don't believe in that. They try to let the weather dictate the golf course, and what you get is what you get, and the conditions dictate that all the time. And it does appear that that's what they have shot for here, for this tournament. And I think it's going to be, if the wind blows in certain directions, it's going to be a very challenging test of golf on some holes. Now, it's clear, though, that if the wind breaks a certain way, or if there's no wind, you're hearing reports of guys driving up to 4. There's 4 drivable par 4s right now, 3 to 4. That's a little bit nerve wracking to hear that. Like, if I don't want a bunch of eagles getting made, at the same time, I also think there's a chance we could really see some guys get exposed for really questionable short games.
Yeah, and drivable par 4s also bring, squirrely shots into play. They allow these guys to get in those bunkers that they're told before the tournament, don't go in that bunker. But if I could drive the green and make a 2, it might be worth the risk. And then they end up in it. And I think if it's a 390-yard hole, it's an easy decision to hit iron. But if it's a 350-yard hole, I might hit driver and end up in that bunker.
And if the wind is going a certain way, if it's with you and you're getting the hard, firm bounces, why not?
You could also go 20, 30 yards over the green into the wispy stuff, which would not be a fun time either. So I think that it's easy to say you can make 2s, and that can have an effect on the score and the overall week itself. But I do think it brings some other things into play that could make for interesting storylines.
Let's do kind of a who's not going to win. By the way, nice Sand Valley glass there you got. Look at that guy. What's in the glass, Ty?
So in the glass today, in my Sand Valley pint glass, in honor of Lynx Golf for the Open Championship, I am drinking Strongbow.
Oh.
The drink of the UK.
The drink of the UK. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I always thought that was Guinness.
No, Guinness is Ireland.
Just Ireland. Okay.
I do believe.
All right.
Strongbow is very popular in the UK.
Got it. All right. Noted. I will write that down. I might need that for something for later on. I have no idea. But, all right. Let's do who's not going to win, and then we'll get into who's going to win. Who's not going to win? Throw me a couple of big names. And I don't mean go to like, Sam Horsfield's not going to win. Yeah, no shit. Give me some big names that aren't winning this tournament.
This one might surprise you, but I do not think Jon Rahm is going to win this tournament.
Nobody is talking about Jon Rahm this week.
Nobody is.
Nobody is.
Which could be good for Jon Rahm. And I think that Jon Rahm is saying all of the right things. And he's, a month or two ago, we would have said Jon Rahm was in terrible form. I don't think you could argue that.
No.
He's played well in some decent-sized tournaments. I just have not seen anything close to the Jon Rahm we saw 1 year ago in terms of just putting the whole package together. Short game, driving the ball, putting. And I think you absolutely need that. And if this was 1 year ago, I would have said Jon Rahm will win this tournament. And fast forward a year, I'm saying he will not win this tournament. A second person I'm going to say that is a little more obvious is Brooks Koepka. He's a guy who shows up in majors. Here's a guy who may or may not be in my picks, but I don't think is going to win. I think he's getting a lot of credit right now. I just don't know that I've seen it on this type of a golf course, and he's probably maybe more to look to the next time this comes around to St. Andrews, but Will Zalatoris is not going to win this week.
A lot of people like Will Zalatoris. I know the no laying up guys were all over Will Zalatoris. I just don't think he putts well enough. Now, I get that he's a ball striking Jesse, right? I get that he just hits the shit out of his irons, and that's what you have to do when you play out here. And the comeback will be like, well, hey, Morikawa won last year, and Morikawa's not a great putter. Noted. I understand all of that. That's great. I'm not sure yet on Zalatoris. I'm with you there. I would grant Zalatoris as a guy not on my list. I'm not ready to go there with Rahm. I'm not ready to go there with Rahm because I think Rahm likes it when the conditions are not soft. When it's not just throw a dart, hit a dart, putt it in, and it becomes a putting contest. He hates that. He loves it when the conditions offer different varieties of shots. And I think he can handle that. If he gets it together, I'm not ready to write Rahm off. I'm with you on Zalatoris. I'm ready to write him off. I don't think he wins. I get that Schauffele is probably the hottest player in the world right now after winning the last 2 weeks. Cross him off. I don't think he's winning this week. I don't think you're going to muster it up 2 weeks in a row. I know Phil did that, but we're talking mustering it up 3 weeks in a row. He won the Travelers. He won the Scottish. I'm not sure I'm ready to have him win 3 events in a row when he couldn't win anything for the longest time. I'm not ready to go that far. I think that's getting a little too out in front of your skis there. Not ready to do that. One more guy for you that I think will not win. Besides the live guys. By the way, all the live guys are not winning. Throw them all out. None of those guys are winning because they haven't played meaningful golf in 2 months. Forget it. None of those guys are winning. I'm going to say no on Matt Fitzpatrick, too. I'm going to say no on Matt Fitzpatrick. I think winning, after you win your first major, I do think there's like a honeymoon period. Right? There's like a period where, not everybody can do what Spieth and Koepka have done the last few years where they were able to win back-to-back or stuff like that. That doesn't happen very often. I don't see it here. I think I think Fitzpatrick does not win. I wouldn't be surprised if he missed the cut.
Yeah, there almost always tends to be a letdown after winning a major, especially your first major. So, there's been a little bit of time. These guys don't always tend to play golf for the first couple weeks, but when they do, it's usually not very good. But that alludes to what Tiger said. If you're not playing with pressure and you have no reason to practice, these guys are taking a deep breath all of a sudden. And now he is a little bit on home turf. That can be a good thing. There's a good chance he played this golf course a number of times and that he likes this style of golf. But he said himself, when I went professional, I don't play much links golf. So I wouldn't necessarily consider this to be as much of a home game as you might think. So yeah, I'm with you for sure on Fitzpatrick, but we haven't even talked about that. Golf clap for Fitzpatrick.
Absolutely.
Awesome win. He definitely had major
Wonderful
stuff.
tournament too. God damn, the country club was great. Why aren't they playing there every 3 years?
Right.
God, that was awesome. That was a great tournament. I loved it. So much fun. And Fitzpatrick was great in that tournament. Really good. Thoroughly enjoyed that tournament.
Much better than Southern Hills, but that's why the PGA Tour is better than that's why the U.S. Open's better than the PGA Championship. 100%.
Southern Hills, I'm sorry. Some people love Southern Hills. Screw Southern Hills. I hope they never play there again. They can play the country club, though, anytime they want. That was awesome. I'm going to throw some names at you. You tell me what you think. Scotty Scheffler.
I wouldn't pick him to win, but I certainly wouldn't pick him to miss the cut. I think he'll be in the mix. I think he peaked. He settled a little bit, and I think he's regained pretty good form.
Yeah, that U.S. Open finish, even though he didn't win, was enough for me to be like, that guy's going to be in the mix all the time, always. Never going to write off Scotty Scheffler. Cam Smith.
I'm really down on Cam Smith. I would have put him and Matt Fitzpatrick in a similar boat. Not that they're very dissimilar, but in terms of they both had major stuff, they both were probably around the same age, had similar results in majors, which were positive. But I'm a little bit down on Cam Smith. He hasn't played real great lately. He does love firm and fast. You'll see in my picks, I went with a number of guys who like firm and fast, but that's my point is he's not the only one, right? So just because he's Australian and he plays on the sand doesn't mean I'm going to pick him this week, but I'm mostly down on Cam Smith. Just a little bit of a lull. I think he'll come back.
How about the defending champion, Colin Morikawa?
So I think his stock is rising.
I kind of agree.
I hate to have long-winded answers on everything.
I think you're right on this guy.
I'm not going to take what he did last year and put a ton of that into my answer, just because I don't think that was your typical Open. I don't think from a putting standpoint and a firmness standpoint, it was a whole lot like what we're going to see here and what we see in most Open championships. So I'm not going to take that and say because he won last year, he should be the favorite or among the favorites. But I think that, I think he'll play okay, but I don't expect him to win.
How about these three names? We'll just kind of throw the three names out, and then we'll kind of break them down. Because I think, obviously, we're going to watch these guys closely. But we like all three of them, Rory, JT, Spieth. We like all three, or is there anybody you're down on out of that? Because I feel like I like all three.
I like all three. If I was down on one of them, it might be Spieth, but I like all three of them, no doubt.
I think Spieth, this is a good course for Spieth. I think so. It's quirky. It's thinking man's course. I mean, you're hitting it over hotels, for goodness sake. Like, that's Spieth. Like, this is Spieth country, man. I think this is just the kind of course that Jordan Spieth wants to play.
And was it 15 when Zach Johnson won? Wasn't that the year that Spieth won twice? And
he
was
gave
a
it an
putt away
eyelash
from getting in the playoff?
Yep. Just had it.
So if you're talking horses for courses, obviously that was, one of the hottest years in history if you throw out the big cat. But then you would say that the track record here is pretty good for Spieth. So yeah, I'm definitely up on all three of those guys. And there's a reason when you look at daily picks, those three guys are all in the top 5. So
all right, you brought him up, so let's talk about it. The cat. He's made it pretty clear that obviously he's put all his eggs into this basket. That, he skipped the US Open to try to get a little stronger to get to this golf tournament. We've also seen pictures of that leg without the sleeve on it. I'm not 100% sure that leg's going to be on his body in 5 years.
So my brother-in-law used to say right after the tournament that Tiger Woods was going to win a major with a bionic leg. And so what you said might lend to that. That would be a hell of a prediction. But I'm concerned that he said might not have been able to play this tournament if it was a couple or 3 weeks ago. I don't know how much you bounce back in a couple of weeks. Now, it might be the same story we had in the first two, though. It's like, hey, you can say you're super concerned, but he made the cut in both tournaments. He just did not have the stamina to play the entire tournament. So we were impressed with what we saw, but to have an expectation that he could win, I'm just not there yet. He's played golf 2.5 times this year, and the halftime was pretty poor. So, I'm not there yet.
I'm concerned about the draw. They didn't give him the early-late draw, which I think gives him a chance to make the cut because the early-late gives him a full 24 hours to sort of recover and kind of get him back out there. He's got the late early, and I'm very concerned about the late early. I think he'll go out and play okay on Thursday. I really do. I think he's going to get decent conditions. And here's the thing. It's flat. It's not a hard walk for the average guy with, whatever. But it's not easy for a guy on one leg, right? And the good news for him is that he doesn't have to bomb it. He can get by with guile. Like, he can hit 5 irons off tees and hit, hit 5 woods and hybrids and 3 irons and all this stuff. He can do that and guile his way around the golf course. He's got that going for him because it's firm and fast. But asking him to play 18 holes on Thursday, turn it around in less than 12 hours, get the body back right, and get back out there and play 18 more, not seeing that. If he can make the cut and stay in it, then it actually turns into an advantage because getting out early on Friday would give him a full day's rest into Saturday, and that would make a big difference. I just don't know if I don't know if he'll get there for that.
Yeah, I did not know. I saw who he was playing with, but I didn't know the late, early draw aspect of that. That's not great, but it also allows him a little bit to ease his way into the golf tournament. And, but I guess if anyone, has the guile and the experience to make any draw work, it's him. But physically, I just don't think he's there, and that's certainly not going to help.
You do get the vibe that Tiger has just pushed all the chips into the table, right? That he has basically said, I don't really care how much pain I'm in. I'm playing all 4 rounds here, and that's that. Because I'm not playing any more events this year after this one. It doesn't matter. I'll probably vice captain President's Cup, but I am not doing anything more the rest of the year as far as tournament golf. So I'm letting it all hang out. I'm playing all 4 rounds regardless. I think that's the thought here.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we could not see Tiger Woods play golf until the Masters next year, or maybe the Players.
Now we'll see him at the PNC. He'll play the father-son. He'll definitely do that again. So we'll get him for that. No worries. But, yeah, as far as that, you won't see him till the Masters again next year. Maybe Riv. Yeah. Maybe Riv. I don't think he'll play the Players anymore. I don't think so. But I think he'll play Riv because he hosts it, and it's Riviera. And I think he'd play Augusta. And then after that, it's venue-specific. It's really venue-driven. If it's a venue that he likes, he'll be there. Like Pebble Beach or something like that. I mean, when the U.S. Open's going to what next year? No, they're going to L.A. Country Club next year. There's a chance he goes there. There's a chance he plays the U.S. Open at L.A. Country Club. Sure, it's L.A. He grew up in California. He might want to go play there. I don't know. But there's some venues he's going to be like, pass. I'm not going to play that. Not going to play that. So, but does the cat make the cut?
I'm not going to bet against him. I think he can make the cut.
Me too. I think he will. I think he will make the cut. Yep. Not going to win, though.
No.
No, of course not. If he did win, greatest story in the history of sports? Top 5? Top 5 greatest story in the history of sports?
Yeah, I mean...
Ben Hogan winning is probably pretty special, right? Ben Hogan coming back after getting hit by a bus was probably... You still got to catch that.
Yeah, I would say it's certainly top 5. I don't know if it's the greatest, it's not the greatest, but him winning the Masters in 2019 was pretty special.
That was pretty good.
This would probably top that.
Oh, 100%.
Just from an outsider's perspective, someone who's not a huge golf fan might not truly appreciate what he's coming back from. I mean, golf is really the only sport you could come back and play at a high level from this injury. Other sports, there just wouldn't even be a question.
Right.
I'm
like I said,
but if you haven't watched the other majors and seen how physically deficient he is, you might not have a true appreciation. But from our perspective, it would be pretty special. And add on, it's the 3rd time. Add on, it's at St. Andrews, his favorite course.
Right.
And yeah, it certainly could be.
Should we make some picks?
Let's do it.
Let's make some picks. This week, obviously, our season-long race we haven't been able to really keep track of much anymore. But we're going to figure something out. I might give Ty a break and just make him buy my round at Troy Burn anyway. And that'll be that. That'll be that. By the way, how was Minnesota National? You were up there this week. How was it?
Awesome. It's the 2nd time I've played it, but the first time it was 100 degrees. It was awesome. It was Tuesday,
It's a
July
beautiful
5th.
golf
It was my
course.
birthday.
Beautiful golf
Yep.
course.
And the thing I was shocked by, so we were in Branson, Missouri, so we weren't able to be up north, or what I consider up north, which is Mille Lacs area for the actual 4th. We drove up there on the night of the 4th and then stayed that week. I was shocked how in a popular summer destination, especially July 4th time, it was dead up there that week. So the golf course was relatively empty.
Yeah, because it was so hot. It was hot too. Our golf course was empty too. We're in the local one in town that I'm working at.
Yeah.
Pretty empty.
And it was awesome. I really enjoyed the golf course. The guys I was playing with were making comments about that. It was, yeah, well, it's we paid 80 whatever bucks. It better be nice. It's like, no, it's an $80 course. It might be a $90 or $100 course. It's not more than that. It's not Giants Ridge. I wouldn't even say it's probably similar to the Royal Club. I would say it's probably on
it's
that
probably
same
on par.
tier,
Yep.
which is a special golf course.
I agree with you. I love Minnesota National. I think it's really challenging. It's fun. It's beautiful. It's a great place to stay up there. I recommend it. It's a great place to play golf. Love it. And I got to say a shout out too to get my. I played Cuyuna Rolling Hills in Deerwood for just not too far from there for the first time. Had a lot of fun there. Wow, was that course in really great shape for the 9 holes I played. Had a lot of fun. You and I need to make a little golf run and start playing more of these courses together, young Ty. Minnesota National being one of them for sure. We need to start bouncing around a little bit.
We could play Azadi's on the way up there.
100%.
Minnesota National.
Rutgers is up there as well. A lot of good stuff.
Rutgers, yep. Gosh. Rutgers is doing, I think, Rutgers is redoing their Alex 9, their par 3.
Yeah.
Which they need to do because the other top golf courses up there have nice par 3s. One that I really want to try in the Brainerd area that I think you just played recently.
Played it, yeah, the gravel pit.
Yeah, the gravel pit.
So
which
fun.
I've heard. I mean, if you're going to charge $50-$60 to play a par 3 course, now it's more than 9 holes. It's whatever, 13 holes,
13 holes. Yep.
But yeah, it looks amazing.
I'll say this: when those greens mature and they have a chance to really settle in, there's going to be some diabolical putts on that 9-hole on that course. No question about it. When they really get those greens up to speed where they want them, you're going to have some undulation, just crazy putts with 20 feet of break type stuff. Then you're going to be able to play backstops and funnel stuff. It's going to be really, really cool when it's all done. Really looking forward.
And it was a farmer and his kid, and they had the land, and the land wasn't good for what they were farming, and he asked the kid what they should do, and he said, let's build a golf course. They had never built a golf course before. So they built the gravel pit.
It is fantastic, and there's a little 13-hole putting course there that's really fun to play. I had a great time up there. Want to say a shout to those folks as well. If you're out traveling this summer and you want to stop in, highly recommend it. A lot of fun. A lot of fun indeed. If you go to my Instagram too, Mr. Tim Anderson, you can probably see some of the pictures from the gravel pit in my round that was there. All right, let's get to the picks, Ty. As always, you're my guest. Where would you like to go?
So you know how I do this. I always kind of have a theme.
A theme.
I will stray away. I'll stray away from my theme because sometimes the budget doesn't allot for the theme in totality. Mm-hmm. But first one I went with, I like to go deep to try to find the gem first because that kind of sets you up to be able to spend some money later on.
Right. And
I went with someone who you're not a big fan of. Shroud with a little recent controversy. But, he's the local flavor. And I think he fit my theme with age and treachery. That's the theme. And this guy has the age part down. I went with Richard Bland, your favorite golfer. Richard Bland, $7,900. I got him on the bargain rack, Tim. Come on.
He is on the bargain rack. There's no question about that. Richard Bland. Could he make the cut? Yeah. Not winning. I just started at the top. I said, who's the guy I'm putting my most money on? Who's the guy I'm investing in? It's Jordan Spieth. 11,100. Absolutely going to invest in Jordan here at St. Andrews. I believe this is the most Jordan Spiethy of Jordan Spiethy type courses. I think he can absolutely win here, and wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Very nice. I don't hate that pick a lot. I looked at Jordan. I just liked a couple people around him. If I was picking winners. So with the thing with Jordan is he has struggled down the stretch when he's had a chance to win the last couple of years.
Yeah, last week too, especially even speaks to that.
So I really do think he'll be in the mix. I'm just not convinced that he has that killer instinct that he used to have. He'll get it. He's made good strides, so no reason to be all that concerned. So I went with someone who actually beat one of the few people who beat Jordan Spieth in 2015, if my memory serves me correctly. For $9,600, I went with Mark Leishman. So I did not go with Cameron Smith, but I went a couple years older. But I went with the guy who probably likes playing firm and fast. So I went Mark Leishman.
I agree with you because my fourth pick was Mark Leishman. $9,600. So Leishman out. We just this week we're gonna go with all of it. You and I both high on Mark Leishman. We both have him this week. So very nice work there. So you have Leishman so far, and Richard Bland. I have Spieth and Leishman. Give me your next one.
So I went with another local flavor guy. I don't hate him. Not a huge fan of him, but I'm sure he's played this course a lot. So I went with, for $10,200, Tyrrell Hatton.
Lord Tyrrell. Yes. I actually think he'll play well here. He's not on my list, but I think Tyrrell Hatton, he's just angry and British enough that I think this will go well. I think he'll play well here. And the fans like him. I think they'll get behind him. I'm going to take a guy who I think's due. I think due to win a major championship, perhaps. Due to really have the big coming out party. $10,100, I took Sam Burns. I think Sam Burns has had a good year. I think he's played really well. And I think when you talk about like ball striking, iron play, and just kind of he's got that little clutch gene that I think exists. I think it's there. I think Sam Burns is going to break out. This could be a golf course where if the conditions hit a certain place, he could dominate this thing. I really do, because he's got all the raw materials to be a major champion. I think this could be the week that it comes to fruition. Give me Sam Burns, 10,100.
Yeah, I agree with you that he has what it takes to be a major champion. I just think more of Sam Burns when I think of Birdie Fest type golf courses, where you got to go out and shoot 63, maybe 64. I don't think that's this week. I think this is a little bit, not that it's, again. I
was going to say, you don't think it's a birdie fest if the conditions don't.
But I think if the winning score is 13, 14 under, I don't consider that to necessarily be a birdie fest, right? Your best score might be 66 to win. It's going to be a little bit more surviving, and I don't necessarily think of Sam Burns in that regard, but I could be wrong.
That's fair.
So for my next pick, I went with a guy I've never had in my picks, but plays a lot in Europe. I went with Ryan Fox. Another firm and fast guy, plays in the wind.
Big hitter, too. Hits it a ton.
I do believe he's a Kiwi, right?
Yeah, hits it a ton. New Zealand guy. Hits it a mile, has made some cuts in the Open, is a DP World Tour member, and value. I actually like Ryan. I just looked at Ryan Fox. I think that was good value there. I like that pick. I took for $10,900, the last of my big money picks, took the mangy dog himself, Cameron Smith. I like Cam Smith here because he can putt. I think he doesn't mind firm and fast. I think imagination is his thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays really well here. He can flight it. He can hit low shots. He can hit high shots. He can play in the wind. That's the kind of guy I want to bet on in this thing. So give me Leash, give me Cam Smith, like that. So I'm taking him as well.
Yeah, I love Cam Smith. I've been, if it's not Spieth or Tiger, he's my favorite golfer in the world right now. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't on what I felt like was the downside of his year, just barely trending down. If he wasn't, he would have been my first pick. No question. I would have demanded he was on my team because of the venue and because I do think that this tournament and this setting suits his game. So certainly I'm not going to argue with you on that pick. So I, on the back end of this thing, I had 2 picks to make and I had $23,000.
You had money to spend at the end. I did not.
So I went with someone who I picked not to win, but I really, really, really would be surprised if he didn't make the cut. I would be surprised if he didn't play well, just because it seems like anytime money's on the line, he's there, in that top 10 on that leaderboard, first page. I went with Will Zalatoris for $11,000.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against what the numbers say. Like, he's been there all year. Every tournament, every major championship, Will Zalatoris is there. And he's come within an eyelash of winning a couple of these, this year. So he could be due. I also worry he could be a little punch drunk. Like, he could be like he's taken on too much water here at the end. I do worry about that a little bit for Will Zalatoris. But, again, great iron player. Maybe one of the 5 best iron players in the world. That's it. That does okay here. That does okay. Key is, can he make a 10-footer to win? I don't know that. All right. I took an iron player as well. $9,500. Corey Connors. I just think that a ball striker, a guy who doesn't mind when the conditions get a little challenging, cute wife. No, I'm kidding. That's not the reason. No. I'm just joking. It was a joke.
I got to look her up.
Don't get all the censors after me. Don't do that. I walked with her at the 3M a couple of years ago, so I'm standing next to her. It was experience. Anyway, just saying. So give me Corey Connors. I like him.
Mallory Connors.
Yeah.
So you know that she's actually cute because you're not just looking at pictures.
No.
Yes, very cute.
I stood right next to her because we followed, I think the first year of the 3M, myself and John, we followed Matsuyama, we followed Connors, and we followed Jason Day. Same group.
Very nice.
They're not going to get half that field this year. Although Matsuyama's in the field, which is kind of nice. It's good to see that he committed to the 3M. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
There's not a whole lot to get excited about yet for the 3M.
I'm still going to go because I got free tickets. My brother called me this morning, said, "You're going?" And I said, "Okay, I guess I'm going."
I'm going to go, no question.
Well, let me know when you go. I'll try to catch up with you there. We'll try to do that.
I think I'm going to go Friday.
Maybe I might go. I think I have to go Thursday, but maybe we should get some film footage. Like, we should do some sort of stuff we'll do some stuff for the channel out there, maybe. We'll see what we can do. All right, last pick.
So last pick, as I alluded to, I had a lot of money to blow. I had the perfect amount. It was meant to be for the top player in the field. Another guy who, surprisingly, has snuck up on us and has agent treachery. For $12,000, I went with Rory McIlroy from Northern Ireland.
Agent treachery for Rory. I'm not sure I'm ready to put him in that category yet, but you do feel like his game is close. I feel like it's close. I feel like he's ready to kind of break through here. I thought that at the U.S. Open. I thought after he came out in that first round or two, like, Rory's going to win this thing. And then he kind of fizzled out. But it's St. Andrews. Rory should win here if he wants to cement his legacy. This would be a big win for him. Last pick. Sentimental. I had 8,800. Got to make the cut. I'm taking Eldrick Tiger Woods, the cat, to make the cut.
That's pretty good value.
8,800 for Tiger at St. Andrews.
Saw him there. When I was bargain shopping, I saw him and thought, "Whoa, okay." Well,
I just need him to make a cut.
A lot about Tiger.
If he makes the cut, for the price, you can't beat it.
He might make a lot of boogies though for you on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, he might. But again, if the conditions are right and he makes the cut and he gets 24 hours between Saturday into Sunday, like being the early guy off on Friday, could bode well for him on Saturday. The round I'm worried about is Friday. That's the round I'm worried about. The quick turnaround, the short sleep session, the quick ice bath. I don't know if that's going to be enough to turn him back around. But if he can make the cut and get through Friday, I think he can hang on Saturday because I think he'll have enough time to rally a little bit. We'll see.
Just got to make the cut first.
Just got to make the cut first. Absolutely. Oh, Tyus, it's been so good. I missed you. We're definitely going to have the pod next week because we're going to have to recap all this. We're going to have to break this all down. And it's 3M Open Week, which is like our other major. We got a major. It's 3M Open Week next week as well. So, a lot going on. I know you're excited. And you and I have to go play golf. You and I have not played golf together since Sand Valley. And we got to go out there and get this done. Like, we got stuff to do here. We got to get out and play some golf here in the next week or two. It's got to get done.
All right, we'll hang up with the podcast listeners, our thousands of fans out there.
Yep.
And we will put it on the schedule.
We'll chat. Yep, we'll take it offline. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, everybody. Thanks again to Ty. TyShrupp.com, by the way. If you want to go check out Ty, let him represent you, let him sell you an insurance policy, please check in with TyShrupp.com. I would appreciate you doing that. Ty would appreciate you doing that. And if you're up here in the northern suburbs of Minnesota, you definitely could use Ty's help. I know that. Got a lot of stuff going on here, so you gotta check in with my boy Ty at the end and make sure that he is representing you for all things insurance. Believe me, as soon as I can get out of this stupid homeowners insurance thing with my company, I want to go over to Ty here, but we'll get it worked out. But Tyus represents everybody else I know. I've sent all my friends to him, and they are doing great work with Ty. So that's that. I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast once again. So please, until next time, keep your head up, and we will see you.